Welcome back, ladies. Today we are in a different room of my house because my ring light's still broken and I have to follow the sunlight. And we're talking about Sydney Sweeney. We haven't actually talked about this American Eagle controversy. Guess how I feel about it? Can you guess? But apparently GQ magazine has been talking about it and thinking about it because they were sure to bring it up when they interviewed Sydney for the recent GQ feature about her. And her response, in my opinion, was gangster. It could have been more gangster, but it was still fairly, it was strong, medium to strong gangster level, which I am thrilled about. So we're gonna break down what this interviewer said. And there's gonna be a good portion of this video I just rant about this interviewer because there is something about this woman that just gets under my skin so bad. And I will tell you all those things. And then what we're actually gonna talk about here is what to do when someone asks you a question that you don't wanna answer, or when someone demands an apology from you that you don't think you owe. Because our next video is actually going to be about people giving you a bullshit apology and what to do if you suspect that this person apologizing to you is not especially sincere. But before we tackle that, I wanted to look at like when someone thinks we should apologize to them. How do we handle that? How do we do it with grace without betraying ourselves? Because it seems so often, at least for girls, that our choices are like fawn, right? So you're right, I'm so sorry. Or we come off as an insane bitch and we literally just make everything worse, right? There is a happy medium, and I'm gonna tell you how to do it because I do it all the time. But before we get started, if you watch this video and you find yourself like getting angry at like the scenarios that I'm bringing up because you realize how much people expect you to apologize or shrink or tap dance or perform or whatever, that anger means you're ready to step into the next level of yourself. You're ready for the Shallon. Not everyone is. It's not a group for everyone. It's a group for women who are fucking sick of it. Who are sick of it, who are sick of living their life for other people, who are sick of not getting the returns from life that they feel like they're owed. I can tell you why that is. I will fix it. I will help you fix it. I will hand you the tools. Come on into our group. You get 20 deep dive advice videos every month. We're talking a lot lately about people pleasing. We just did a whole evil week on how not to feel guilt and how to step into your life, your actual self, what you want without feeling guilty. All right, Sydney Sweeney. You know what this fuck shit was about. You know what this fuck shit was about. A hot white woman had the audacity to look hot while being white. You know how like there's the joke like driving while black, you know, and you get pulled over just because you're black. White people have that too. It's called proud while white. Because if you do that, if you have the audacity to do that, you are a white supremacist. I mean, you're just like, hello, you're a Nazi. You're into eugenics, let's kill other people. I am not the person who's going to apologize, I mean, honestly, for very many things at all. But I will never apologize for my race. I will never apologize for my ancestors. I will never apologize for the achievements and the tragedies and the catastrophes and the monstrousness of anyone who isn't me. Just because we have the same historical lineage. Even if they're in my family, I'm like, that's not my circus, not my monkey. That's them, that's their behavior. The concept that anyone should apologize for their race is sickening. So Sydney obviously did the American Eagle ad. She looked hot, and the tagline was, she's got great jeans. It's a pun, because she's wearing jeans. Do you get it? Oh my God, that was the day woke idiots found out about puns. Oh, wow. And in the wake of this crazy backlash, you had Lizzo, you know, like the Lizzos of the world, who are eating themselves into an early grave and race baiting all the time and really trying to do as much as possible to make people like racially divided. I don't think Sydney does anything to make people racially divided. She's just sort of there. Like she's just sort of like tits there. She's the most like I don't mean this in a bad way, but she's kind of like forgettable. She's not really like a cultural impact where it's like, oh my God, she's saying some things that are really good and sharp and relevant, and then she's fucking it up and saying other weird things. I do that. She's just like an actress. She doesn't talk about anything. She posts pictures of her dog. She's like this at her lake house. It's bucket hat. Like, it's so benign. It's so benign, and people are foisting all sorts of like bizarre racial conspiracies on her and American Eagle. Well, it backfired because their stock went up. They gained 1 million customers. President Trump tweeted that it's like the hottest ad ever. I mean, it's not. There's been hotter ads. Do you remember in like the 2000s, the Dior ads with like Giselle and this other model, and they were choking each other? Holy shit. That was one of the hottest ads ever. Tell me your other hot ads in the comment. I'm so interested. So then she sat down with GQ magazine to talk about her new boxing movie, Christy, which I guess is like flopping hardcore. And I feel really bad for her because it really looks like she got her ass handed to her filming this movie. She posted a gallery of her with like a bloody nose and getting punched in the face. I mean, it's one of those kind of movies where she looks just like a little wet rat in half the pictures. She really poured her heart and soul into it, and I guess nobody cares, and which is, now that's a video. But we did it. We did that topic a few weeks ago on how to flop. And it's like, listen, if you like it, then it's not a flop. It means something to you, and therefore it has merit. Much like your own race. You are allowed to be proud of something that you are, whether it's an achievement or it's simply how you were born. Okay. So she sat down with GQ, and I think one of the more annoying interviewers I've ever seen. I cannot believe this woman is a journalist. She so clearly doesn't like Sydney Sweeney. It just has like barely concealed disdain for Sydney, and it's like she let ChatGPT program her on how a girl's girl would act. Just like, yeah, I just really appreciate you sitting down. It just all came across as extremely simpering and pandering and yet disdainful, which is a really disgusting combination to me. And just stop. And I feel like she kept, if you watch this whole interview, it was like nails on a chalkboard. It was the most cringe, awkward thing. She just kept trying to like trap Sydney into like saying something crazy like, yeah, I'm just like all tits and no brain. That's me. I'm Sydney Sweeney, because that's how she talks. And Sydney just kept like giving these extremely like bland, media trained PR answers. Yeah, you called off your engagement, like girl power. She's like, I'm not looking for a man right now. You're dating Scooter Braun. Like, cut the shit. It was awful. It was an awful interview. If I had been the editor who assigned that journalist out there, I would have canceled her parking pass. I would have been like, what did you just bring me? I would feel sorry for her if she wasn't trying to trap Sydney into questions. But then I do feel sorry for this reporter because Sydney was giving her like nothing interesting. Except for the American Eagle thing came up. Let's see how this went.
Is there something that you want to say about the ad itself? The Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Do you have...
The ad spoke for itself.
You think the ad spoke for itself? Yeah. Okay. And the criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
How much do you know about micro expressions? There was a show on TV like, 10 years ago on like ABC or something called Lie to Me, and it was literally about micro expressions. It's actually really good. If you notice when the girl asks, Sydney narrows her eyes. It's just a flash where she's like, and that is rage and disgust. Rage and disgust. Rage and disgust. White people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. I can't even make the face that reporter was making because I've had Botox. Unlike her, my mama raised me right. I don't know what. And the reporter's like, ugh, ugh. Like, if you don't understand a microexpression, what it means, take it, freeze it, and then extend it to an extreme, right? So this chick is like, you want to talk about it? And her shoulders were up. That's a fear response, right? That's fight or flight. I have to protect my jugular. Ugh. She's showing her mouth in this like, helpless thing. And she's just shrinking down. Do you want to talk about it? That's what I saw. Pray. And she should have reacted like that because Sydney narrowed her eyes. That flash narrow. And if you extend that out, you narrow your eyes when you are hunting, when you are zoning in on something and someone. I see you. You are now in my crosshairs. But Sydney did not lash out. She did not pop off. She did not say the things that I will say in this video, which is, I don't think anyone should have to apologize for being white or black or Filipino or Argentinian or from Monaco or anything. You should actually be proud of who you are. And if you can't be proud of who you are, that doesn't mean the whole world owes you shame about who they are. If you don't feel proud of being who you are, I mean, that is in fact a you problem. The rest of the world does not owe you the shrinkage down to nothing so that you at like 1% feel like you are ahead of something. And it is insane to me that some women out there do have that suicidal empathy. The only way I can make other people feel good is by showing how much I hate myself. And you wonder why people take advantage of you. You wonder. You're begging for it. You make it very clear that this is how you want the world to treat you because this is how you're treating yourself. Oh, you're ashamed of yourself? Well, let's join in. I've been wanting to be mean to someone today. You will do fine. You will do fine. There's something about that reporter that makes her an extremely easy target for predators. I bet she has a very tough time. You know? I bet she has a tough time enforcing boundaries and standing up for herself. I don't look at that woman and go like, ooh, yep. Don't mess with her. Yeah, or what? She's gonna tell her favorite cashier at Barnes & Noble about you? Okay. So I think Sydney handled this well. And this is not a response like I probably would have scripted if I was coming up with like the most diplomatic thing to say, but I think her response is great. Like basically, when you want my opinion, I will let you know. I am not on anyone else's timeline to speak about this. And it actually might be never. It actually might not be worth my time at all. I'm actually not going to give you what you want just because you asked for it. Is this not the boldest thing that a woman can do? Is refuse to answer a question. Refuse to answer a question. We are asked questions constantly, and they're just never the ones we want. They're just never the ones we want. I had to say to somebody the other day, you know, you've been talking for an hour and you haven't once asked how my day is. That's a question I think a lot of us are not asked when dating. How are you? How was your day, babe? Tell me about your week. But the question guys especially feel totally ready to ask, what's your body count? Have you ever had a threesome? Have you cheated on someone? And don't we feel obligated to answer that? While we're on the subject of body count, here is how you answer that question. Are you ready? Guys like, yo, what's your body count? And you stop, right? The pause is crucial. You're like, Like you've received some new data and you're running some numbers. You're like, And this look on your face. You say, I didn't think you were insecure. I didn't think you were like that insecure about your sexual performance. I'm not. I just want to know. Well, in my experience, what I've heard from my girlfriends is the only guys who are really concerned about that are the ones who are afraid they won't measure up sexually. So they want a girl who's not had a lot of partners to compare to. This is just giving me, don't let him answer. This is really giving me some pause because, you know, I'm really looking for an alpha male. And that means to me leadership. You know, an alpha is a pack leader. And if you are this insecure about your sexual performance, or like my sexual past, this just gives me a lot of pause about your ability to lead in a relationship, or I mean, my God, a marriage. Like, it just makes me feel like maybe you're just kind of overall not really confident. And so like, and I want this to be a monologue. Like this needs to sound like a stream of consciousness monologue that this is all just unfolding in your mind. Oh my God, this, and then this is leading, that's the point. This is not a discussion, this is a monologue. Men know all about monologues. Because then that makes me wonder, you know, is this man going to be able to ask for a raise in the future? Is he going to be able to like defend me and our family? What if some guy comes up to me in a parking lot screaming? Is he going to be able to defend? Yeah. I feel like I have a lot to think about. I've done this. And they just about shit their pants. But when you think of it, find me the lie. Find me the lie in what I just said. Show me where that isn't where that pathology leads. And you need, as a woman, to equate those things. That this man doesn't even feel like he can compete with a ghost in the past. You honestly think he feels confident enough to compete with like the guy going for the same promotion. That dude screaming in a parking lot. Baby, he can't. He can't. And it's not like, well, I just need to reassure him. No. This man needs to learn how to reassure himself. That's what a man is. That's what an alpha is. Because like I said, the questions we want, how was your day? What can I get you? How can I make your life better? What bill would you like me to pay? What would you like me to buy you? Those questions don't seem to come up as often as we want. But there are plenty of inappropriate questions, right? And they're questions, they are always questions of access. That's what an inappropriate question comes down to. I want access to your information, or I want access to your time. I want access to your time. Hey, can you stay late and work on that project? Access to your time. What's your body count? Access to your information. And if we move through life without a map to deal with these things, it's like we're living in a house with no windows and no doors. It's like anyone who wants to come into this place can, because what the fuck am I gonna do? And you know who knows that you're not gonna do anything? The people coming in through the windows and the doors. The people who have asked you something, you're like, well, okay, here you go. I'm just fed the fuck up of people feeling entitled to who I am. And we talked about this all through Evil Week, livestock. I am sick to goddamn death of people viewing me as a beast of burden, something to be milked or slaughtered and gobbled up and then discarded. I am really tired of getting that vibe from people who just want something from me. And it's different when it's, you know, the difference between someone who wants something appropriately and someone who doesn't. Like a friend who needs to vent and talk because she just got dumped, appropriate. A friend who only calls you when she needs to vent, who is always in some kind of crisis, who never asks how you're doing, or if this is even a convenient time for her to like bleh, emotionally barf all over you. We know the difference. And if you don't know the difference, do you know how to tell? It's your body. You will feel like contracted. You will feel shrunk, exhausted, just like your brain will hurt, your ears will hurt. It will physically manifest in your body. Versus your friend, you're like, yes, what did he do? Oh my God, what's her at? Let's cyberbully her. You will feel like lit up, even though it might be more of like an emotional lift, like you're more invested, you know, your adrenaline's going up and down. You don't feel drained giving to someone who fills you up fairly regularly. We know that. And again, if you don't, check in with your body after. Check in with your body. Do you need to lay on the floor in a dark room after you deal with someone? Aha. Aha. Again, in Evil Week, we talk about this, and there's like 8 videos, and each one step on how to deal with it, plus PDF worksheets you type right there on the computer. You don't have to print them out, to help you go even deeper and dismantle the thought processes in your mind that are even allowing these scenarios to unfold, right? So you're attacking it from like how to actionable deal with it, but also subconsciously, so that in the middle, never again. And by the way, we have a companion piece to today's video, a downloadable journal workbook to go a little bit deeper into this lesson and to come up with ways you can repel borders when people either ask you for information you don't want to give or ask you for an apology you don't think that you owe them. So it's editable. You can click on it and just type right on in there if you don't want to print it out. But yeah, I've been doing these kinds of downloads in the Shallon and I really like them. So I thought, why not put one here for you guys? I could feed you my answers and what I would do, but it's better if you can kind of like triangulate your responses that feel good to you. You're like, I can say this. I can step enough outside of my comfort zone that I'm not gonna burst into flames workshopping this. And we're gonna give you like escalating options, okay? And get to the root of like, oh, if this is just so panicky and awful, why? Sometimes you have to use a weapon. Sometimes they gotta fuck around and find out. And this is hard on us. This is hard on us. But it is harder overall. Like the units of suffering, yeah. That one's like 100 units of suffering all at once. But if you let people constantly take runs at you, it's like 10 million units of suffering. You know this. You've experienced it. You might be living it right now, where you just feel like a turtle without a shell and like a house without doors or windows, and anyone who wants to come in and anyone who wants to just raid me and loot me for whatever they want, what am I going to do about it? Nothing. I'm a pussy. No, you're not. And if you think that you are, well, grow the fuck up and stop. Stop. Every woman, every person who's got some boundaries had to get to the point probably where you're at. And they had a choice to make. Do I keep on being a pussy? Or do I stand up and say, no one's going to treat me like this anymore? Stop it. You don't like me? Well, I don't like you. And worse, I don't like me. If you like me, I don't like me. And I am going to like me. Your opinion means nothing in comparison to my opinion of myself. You're going to talk shit about me. Well, I'm going to talk shit about my own self and my mind if I keep giving in to you. I want you to be good and mad. I don't want you to feel bad about yourself, but I want you to get to the point where you're actually doing something about these kinds of people and these interactions. Enough. Because it will not just resolve itself on its own. And then where we always think is, why are they treating me like this? Again, we go way into this in Evil Week. This is what the whole thing is about. You cannot sit and ask that. If they respected me, they might not. They might not, girl. It doesn't matter. You cannot control their behavior. It's let them. It's let them. But let me. You can control yourself. And ironically, the thing that will make them respect you is having some motherfucking boundaries around here. So let's talk about apologies. Not a big apologizer. I'm not a big apologizer. And I very frequently, I'll go more into this into our next video, but in the interest of not keeping you here all day, I talk a lot more about apologies in our next video about like how to detect a bullshit apology from someone. But what if someone kind of wants an apology from you and you're like, and we all grew up having to apologize. You know, it's like your mom's hand like digging into your shoulder. Why don't you apologize to the librarian? Apologize to Tara for putting gum in her hair. And you're just looking up and you're like, I'm sorry I put gum in your hair. It's like acid coming out of your mouth. It is the worst. And nowhere does this show up more, the forced apology, than with family. Just call your sister. Just call your sister and tell her you're sorry for saying that about the mashed potatoes. Just call your sister and tell her it's the holidays. We all don't want to deal with this. You're like, well, I'm not sorry I said that about the mashed potatoes. They were too salty. I don't think you have an obligation to apologize if you're not sorry, because if for no other reason, and again, we go way into this in the next video, people detect your duplicity and they stop trusting you. So actually a fake apology can do more damage than none at all. Mom wanted me to give you a call and tell you I'm sorry about the mashed potatoes. Okay, fine, bye, I said it. We all know when someone's not real. And if we don't, again, in the next video, I'm gonna tell you how to figure it out. There is a phrase you need to look for in an apology to figure out if this person is full of shit. But for now, we're gonna focus on our own. What I think you should say, and what I say is, I am so sorry my actions had this effect on you. That wasn't my intention. There was no secondary motive to hurt your feelings when I said I didn't want seconds for the mashed potatoes. This is a me thing. This isn't a you thing. That doesn't sound great. I don't know. I shouldn't have done this video. I shouldn't have done this video. Okay, don't apologize. Stand on business. Stand on business. And listen, dude, if your relationship with whoever hinges on this apology, if you don't clear the air over the potatoes, your sister's not going to speak to you again. You know what? If it's that fragile, let it break. Even if it's your sister, even if it's your parents, even if it's your husband, if this whole relationship is going to live and die by you pretending to be sorry, what kind of emotional hostage situation is this? I want something better for you and for them. They deserve maybe to have a dynamic where someone isn't just blowing smoke at them and pretending to be sorry when it's like, they're not. They're not. I think you have the right to say, and this is something we go into in the workbook, okay, of like what you can say to kind of smooth things over without totally denying yourself. I think you're allowed to say, I'm so sorry that I hurt your feelings, and that was absolutely not my intention. My intention was to express myself, be honest, protect my boundary, whatever your intention was. And say, and I do stand by that choice. I stand by my boundaries on that. I stand by my opinion. I stand by whatever it is. And I am genuinely sorry that that hurts you. And I don't want this to corrode our relationship. But what will corrode the relationship from my standpoint is taking back what I said, removing this boundary and giving you what you want. That ultimately will lead to a worse dynamic on my end. And I just can't do it. I'm sorry to disappoint you. If you are faced with a choice between protecting yourself and letting someone down, let someone down. If it's you or it's them, it's you. It's you. And maybe it's time you look in the face relationships that are apparently predicated on you having no boundaries, having no opinion, having no sense of like ownership over your own history or information or identity or time. Maybe it's time you read that writing on the wall and were woman enough to say, I deserve better than this. If you're ready to be that woman, come join us in the Shallon Entourage. We go deep on all these kinds of things. And like I said, do your homework, download your PDF, get some deep dive insight into this. And we are gonna see you next time for another video on apologies and how to detect the bullshit when it's coming in your direction. All right, ladies, I will see you later. Mwah!